Did we hear the news about Dr. Doom? Yes, we did. Major news this weekend. Kev, I'll let you. You already have gone on the rant behind closed doors of announcing this the same weekend as Deadpool. So I'm going to give you that one because I do agree with it.
Yeah, okay, that's where I will start. We did hear, of course, the big news. I think the worst timing of releasing such big news that Marvel could have gone with. Hear me out for a second. We're going to spend the majority of this episode talking about Deadpool and the Wolverine. And one of the reasons, besides us really liking it, was that it's made over $400 million in its opening weekend. So you already have everyone's attention. It just feels like a bad time. Why'd you have to do the Robert Downey Jr. thing that same weekend? Why wouldn't you save it for another weekend and then get everybody's attention again that weekend? It's sort of like you're fighting amongst yourselves online for interaction and people's attention. And I don't know. I would have waited a week. I understand this is when the Comic-Con was. Maybe they released Deadpool strategically that weekend to boost its numbers. So I don't know if it was ever going to be an option for them to do it on another day, but I thought the timing of it was weird. Now, James, I will pass the baton to you first for how you feel about the actual decision. What up, Harles? What up, Headbug? Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Harles, Headbug, Axel, Kanglo. Thank you guys for joining. Kev, I would also like to touch on, I think if they were, you always knew when San Diego Comic-Con was going to be, right? So if that was, you were always going to do this, why not release Deadpool last week or 2 weeks ago?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was it
build it into it? Like,
yeah. Do they think they're going to get a bigger weekend because there's a Comic-Con? Because to me, it would be difficult to do both, right? Like if I'm traveling, especially out of state to go to the biggest comic convention in the United States, I'm going to want to spend my whole weekend there because the tickets, I imagine, aren't that cheap. I've gone to Comic-Cons in Cincinnati, all right? And I wanted to spend my whole day there so I get my money's worth. I'm also a big fan of panels, but that's neither here nor there. Was it a good idea? Let us know, chat. Because I feel like it was a bad idea, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, maybe the fact that they did it the same weekend as Comic-Con is a boost to the numbers somehow because everybody is in nerd mode on Twitter looking at what's going on at the convention. So maybe that was the thought, was like, we'll really heat things up. But I don't hate your idea, James. Why didn't they do it a week before? And they really could have shown that last spoiler heavy trailer that ruined certain plot points for folks. They could have shown that at the Comic-Con. And then you can't tell me that if they just wait a month or two and do their own special digital event and had Robert Downey Jr. come out, that it wouldn't have still been a huge thing and would have gotten everyone's attention. So I don't know. Getting people's attention is a tricky thing sometimes. We're a fickle 24-hour creature now, and it just felt really short-sighted to me to do this all in the same weekend. Like, why would you do that? What else you got? Because they don't have anything better than this to go back to. So like, why would you play your ace? It's just a weird move. It's sort of like you already had the winning hand, but you're like, hit me. Like, no, I don't know. James, I'm going to pass you the baton, so I quit ranting about it.
I just thought it was the timing. Again, just you have a hammer in Deadpool and Wolverine going out, and he didn't necessarily underscore the Dr. Doom reveal, but there's a lot of eyes elsewhere, right? Like that's a major reveal that you're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. for that. Massive.
It is, whether you think it's a good idea or not, which I'm sure we'll get to soon. But yeah,
we're going to talk about it. Yeah.
It's the biggest name you have that currently exists, I would think, because Chris Evans, but again, the more we talk about it, the more I just want to scratch my bald head, James. Like also, yeah, we stepped on the Chris Evans return by having Robert Downey Jr. return the next day. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, shout out mega spoilers. If you didn't realize that, I assume everybody in here already knows this is a spoiler cast.
Oh, whoops,
So,
sorry. Yeah, I thought it said spoiler cast, James.
it
What are we
does say
doing?
spoiler
Sorry.
cast. I'm just going to say
Hang
it
on.
out loud. It does say that.
I have a thing for this. There we go.
I guess we've talked about it, so let's just show the reveal of Robert Downey Jr. as obviously this is the Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler cast, but mega news that it has to be discussed. We debated it beforehand, making a whole separate video, but we're just going to do it here, and maybe we'll be here for 2, 4, 7 hours. Who knows at this point? You got Robert Downey Jr. getting announced this weekend. Let's get us where we belong, so we can look right over Dr. Doom here. Make sure I put the sounds on for this.
Yeah, I agree, Headbug. And Axel, yes, hold that thought. I've got something for you on this. I love it. Is this the one where you hear the guy yell Jared Leto right before he reveals? Like, there's someone in the crowd that's
really, let's see it. Yep. Yeah, it's right there. Jared Leto.
I mean, I get it. You see a bunch of cultists in a cloak, immediately you're gonna think, "Oh yeah, it's Jared Leto." What? Who else would it be?
That's what I've never seen that. That's great.
I'm dead, dude. Jared Leto.
There is. So,
how disappointed is that guy?
So let's talk about this right now. Jared, I actually think Jared Leto would be all. Jared Leto's a great actor. Okay, I guess initial thoughts, and then we'll discuss all the rest of it, all the questions. Do you like this, Kev? Let's start with you. Do you like Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom?
I have gone back and forth on it, James. I had the same reaction as everybody but Jared Leto guy. And when I saw the first clip, I was like, no shit.
No freaking way.
And then the more I've sat with it, the more I'm like, I don't love it personally. And I can't really give my opinion on it without kind of spoiling where I think it's going, and also kind of touching on Axel's question. So I won't dive too deeply into it, but yes, there are at least 2 different stories where one way or another, Tony Stark is Dr. Doom. Now, one of them involves Doom getting Tony Stark to help him build what he thinks is a telekinetic machine, but what it actually does is it switches their consciousness and wipes Tony's memory. So that's where the Anthony Stark thing comes from. So it's a Tony Stark who's actually got Victor Von Doom in his mind, and then you have a good guy, Victor Von Doom. Not my favorite way, not necessarily, not where I would go. Oh, hell yeah, there you're nice, Headbug.
Yep, I missed that too, yep.
And then there is another one that isn't sticking out in my head as much, but I am assuming that they are doing some form of Tony Stark variant equals Dr. Doom. Right? That's what I think they're doing. I mean, Josh Brolin played 2 different characters, and one of them was Thanos. So there's that. Like, it's possible. The whole thing with Dr. Doom is he never takes that mask off, which is why it'd be really
like
weird
an accident
to hire
or something, right? That happens that makes him.
I think he just has like a freckle or something, like where he just like he doesn't. There's something on his face. There's an imperfection. Maybe a freckle's putting it underselling it a bit,
right
but
now.
Yeah, he doesn't ever show his face, which obviously we talk about the back end of this, even to get into Deadpool a little bit. There's a reason we only got the Wolverine mask at the very end. There's a reason that in every Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds is constantly taking that thing off. That's the recognition. That's what they're paying for. They want the star power. So go ahead, James.
Headbug's right. This is what I found. In the comics, Victor Von Doom is scarred after a machine he invents explodes. He wears a mask to cover his face.
Boom.
Because the explosion messes him up. That's what
it's possible that they'll do a bunch of makeup and have him look and sound completely different, but because they're doing all of this variant stuff, what I think they're doing here, James, is sort of a break.
Apparently,
I love yes, it's great. We've got our Marvel Anthony,
Yep.
Star Wars on
Hell
Wednesdays.
yeah.
Anthony steers the ship here, and this is great. Excellent. Executive producer. We got Headbug and Harles. Great tag team here. What I think they're doing is at a point, Civil War, we got to put a shield around the planet Earth. I think this is going to be a variant, Tony, that kind of stayed on that arc to a more to an even stricter uh, path, and maybe Ultron isn't corrupted, so it's a Tony Stark who just went the wrong way, who now is an overbearing, controlling zealot who's got an army of Doom bots or Ultron bots, and that it's going to be that. That's how I feel that they're going by casting him. Otherwise, there are so many people who could do this role well,
So many
James.
awesome people.
Why would you have to pay him all this money to bring him back if you weren't doing it as a Tony Stark variant? But what do you think? Do you like it? Do you think this is what they're doing?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to answer a couple questions here. Axel, I don't think that's an announcement on what he's going to look like in the movies. I think they're just kind of used it for that. So I pulled up what he looks like in the comics, and Headbug has got a good comment here. It doesn't ask you, Axel, doesn't remind you of William Dafoe's Green Goblin. I think so. I don't love it, Kev, and it's mainly because of where the MCU is headed post Endgame. Is this multiverse arc has not been great to me. I don't think it's been very well done. There's zero momentum, and it just haven't been an overall direction, right? And then you factor, the new name of the next Avengers movie is Doomsday. They've changed it. It was be
Kang Dynasty, right?
Kang Dynasty, yes. I'm trying to find the picture that I have it pulled up. The Russo brothers are also coming back direct. I do like that. I thought they were really good. But I thought I had that logo pulled up. Do I like it? No. The answer is no. I think it's going to be a Tony Stark variant. You know what I mean? I think it's some sort of Stark variant, and I just don't. The variance has not worked out as well as I would have liked. In this whole Kang thing, the whole multiverse has just not worked out. So I haven't been
a fan of it either. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love Dr. Doom. He's probably the biggest villain they have left in their bank. But I don't like the idea of it. Like, they're going to cheapen it, right? If he is a Tony Stark variant, isn't that just cheapening it?
It is to me personally, just because, like you said, Doom is one of the better villains they had left. Now, to touch on the Kang thing, that one sucks. I had no disagreement. Jonathan Majors, are we past 3 minutes yet? Jonathan Majors can get fucked, with all due respect. I have no sympathy for him. But for the character Kang, one of, if not my favorite Marvel villain, to get cast aside like that, it was one of the few things that I liked, James, in the multiverse saga has been Loki. Thought that final episode of season 1 with He Who Remains was like, okay, I think
it's really good. And then they bring him in Ant-Man and a Wasp, and I think he's good in it, but you're going to bring him in against those low-key, low-powered people, and it didn't. And then he also gets beat by them. So it's like, This is your next big bad. Like, what the fuck?
And he's supposed to be the major overarching villain. That makes no sense.
He went from, he looked awesome. Like, He Who Remains was awesome. You're like, oh shit, like this dude is a bad motherfucker. And then the Ant-Man and Wasp thing happened. You're like, that can't be the next guy.
Yeah, and even though the costume looked cool,
shit, and
he was broken and beaten immediately. And again, that's just not how you do it. It makes absolutely no sense. I think anybody who, I don't even know if you have to have studied the craft of storytelling to that's what made that so shocking. Where it's like, dude, sometimes you just don't change things. Every once in a while, it's like, well, nobody's ever done this. Yeah. And there's a good reason it's never been done, because it doesn't make any sense to do it. So honestly, all that being considered, I am sad that we've lost Kang, but Doom was really all they had left. And I do. Oh, Axel points out Galactus.
Is Galactus a good
I
one?
stand corrected.
Is Galactus the villain in the Fantastic Four movie? Isn't the Silver Surfer in that movie too?
Is that where they're going? The only thing I've
see.
seen confirmed is what was it gonna that the Celestials are made out of adamantium,
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
didn't they do a Galactus thing with drones that just terrifies me? I mean, drones are cool, and I just love seeing an army of drones that can do all these crazy things on command. That'll never.
They also announced
anybody in the ass.
The Fantastic Four movie is called First Steps, and it's not going to be an origin movie. It sounds like that's what they said.
Which I'd be fine with.
The
Fantastic Four thing, it's kind of like Batman. I don't need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne shot anymore. I don't need to see the Fantastic Four get hit with some hazy cosmic jive. All right. Unless they're gonna no, do not de-age and bring back the ghost of David Bowie. What am I even saying? Get it out of here unless you're gonna play Star.
Oh no, yeah, Galactus is the villain of the Fantastic Four, because there was that drone footage, remember? So he is. The Silver Surfer and Galactus are in the Fantastic Four movie, Galactus. That's where they're using them.
Yeah, Silver Surfer, the Herald of Galactus, so they go hand in hand.
I'm gonna pull this droid footage up. It was awesome.
Yes. When's our next Terminator review? Do we never learn, dude? This is crazy. Why would we do this?
This was drone footage from San Diego Comic-Con this week.
This is scarier than the real Galactus. Well, close.
Do this with drones and stuff is wild.
Dude, I'm terrified of this.
It's really cool. Humiliating type of Harls.
Look at that world eater.
Very cool.
God damn. Yeah, not terrifying at all. I do enjoy
it could very well just be Galactus.
Yeah. I can't wait till they use these to simulate an alien attack.
Oh my no.
To enforce a one world government, brother. Goddamn. Obey and consume. Look at it. What are they doing? Opening up a portal? Oh.
It's pretty sweet.
Johnny Storm. Look at that. Okay. I'm back. I bow down to my robotic overlords. It was worth it. Is Galactus more powerful than Thanos? Yes, right? Galactus
can be, yes. I think they're comparable, yeah.
I'm trying to think pardon me. He consumes planets. In the Infinity Gauntlet story, I can't remember how they get rid of Galactus. I think he uses other celestial godly beings. That stuff, the MCU, I don't think will ever get to the full extent of weird that the comics gets to, especially when it came to that Infinity Gauntlet.
The Celestials, they've done that. What was that movie that tanked? Eternals was not very good.
Yeah, they ever going to explain that, dude? Just hanging out in the ocean?
No, I just think he just floated back.
That we now know is made out of adamantium, by the way. So it's not.
Yeah, so that's where adamantium came. I don't. Whatever. Headbook said I think they're going to use the next two films to tie in the Fantastic Four with Avengers into the MCU. They're working towards all the universes being connected, no matter how loosely. I think so. The second movie is next Avengers movie after Doomsday is Secret Wars. That is still staying the same, which has always made sense for Doctor Doom, because if you follow either Secret Wars timeline, Doctor Doom is the main villain. But the second one, which I think would be really wild if they were really to go crazy, is where they would Battle World gets created, all the universes collide, they create Battle World, and you have a bazillion variants of everybody, and it would be really cool, which also is kind of why I'm confused by, like, just tie this all back in, like why Robert Downey Jr. would be Doctor Doom when, if they're going towards Battle World, you could bring him back as Iron Man.
Yeah, unless you're going to do both, unless that's the, unless that's the plan, to have him show up in the third act of Secret Wars as the hero and defeat himself. But I just don't get it. There are some great options for this role.
Tons of options.
And I just didn't think this was necessary. And I agree with you. I think they're going to go with the second version of Secret Wars, the more recent one, if they go by either one. Because isn't that the same one where wasn't the cause of that in the comics incursions? I feel like that's it's essentially the same thread they've been following on. Maybe sans the TVA. But I don't love it. I popped for it like the nerd mark that I am when I saw it, because I was like, oh hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
awesome.
The longer I sat with it, I was like, not like this though. And then shout out to Comics Explained. I went and watched the two. He had just released a video about Anthony Stark, and then I went and found his other one so I could get updated on some of these storylines. And that really put a damper on it, because I was like, oh, neither of these are very good. I don't like either of these. Whatever they do, they'll probably do their own thing. And I don't think I'm going to like that either, just because this didn't need to be. You should have given us a real Doctor Doom before you gave us Tony Stark alternate Doctor Doom, in my opinion.
I agree. Axel asked what we think I think his suit will look very comic booky. I think it'll have the metal and everything, the mask.
I think he asked about the cloak earlier. You think they'll have the cloak?
Yeah, they'll give him a cloak for maybe one scene.
It'll get ripped off or something.
Yeah. Okay, Kev, final comment.
CGI cloak. Ooh.
CGI.
That's what's coming. Mark it down.
Oh, the Green Lantern, the CGI cloak. Coming, so those are our thoughts on the Doctor Doom reveal. We're both we're immediately excited, and then the more you think about it, the more we're like,
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, I don't like where this is going. Shout out Stream Elements for just posting whenever it feels like.
Let's go.
Just does what it wants. We can't control Stream Elements. We literally time in. It doesn't listen to us at all. Come join us in Harl's Discord. You can suggest topics for other shows. So we talk all kinds of nerd stuff in there.
Harl's calling me out. I'll have you know, the first thing I tweeted when this was announced was they should have brought him back, and it was a photo of Julian McMahon holding the Doom mask. Probably the most popular tweet I've had in the last year. So you are not alone, Harl's. Julian McMahon would have worked. Axel, with a good counterpoint here, what do you think about this, James? So actors aren't allowed to play more than one character in a franchise. We got the Josh Brolin thing.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel?
Josh Brolin's a little different because Thanos is so CGI'd, and he plays Cable, which was Fox. I don't. So I'm not saying they can't play more than one character in a franchise. That's not it. I am saying Robert Downey Jr. can only play one in this franchise, though, because more than any other character in the MCU, Robert Downey Jr. is the reason the MCU exists. If it wasn't for the success of Iron Man 1, the MCU wouldn't. He is so integral to the whole series as a whole, and Robert Downey Jr.'s face as Iron Man is so iconic, and he dies such an iconic death in Endgame. I just don't like the idea of all of a sudden there's a variant version Doom of. And I'm not saying they can't do it right. I just right now I don't like it.
I'm with you.
I prefer Benedict Cumberbatch to come back from Sherlock's.
I want a better. I want a better class of Sherlock, to be honest. But the
British version is good. Cumberbatch is awesome.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you, James, on your take.
What up, Michael?
When it comes to shouts out, Michael. When it comes to actors being allowed to play more than one character in a franchise, to borrow a spoiler from Deadpool's mythology, there, the way I see it is Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is sort of an anchor for that franchise, and he would be one of the characters. Like, case in point, how would we feel about Wolverine being in a future Avengers? And he's got, and I'm trying to think of
And Hugh Jackman is the villain.
Well, sorry, yeah, I meant to say Hugh Jackman instead of Wolverine, but yeah, what if there was this character? Right now, there's not any Marvel characters coming to mind where I'm like, oh hell yeah, this person we've been waiting for. And instead of some new actor that could be great that fits the role, we just have Hugh Jackman come play this new character. It would just be, it wouldn't make sense. Like, we've seen this person be this iconic role for 20 years. And I think the only reason it worked with Chris Evans was because everybody knows that he was in the Fantastic Four and he had actually already played that character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want
when he got cast as Captain America, there was a lot of people that were like, I don't know about this.
Fair. No, Kevin, no. He's got to be tired of being in all the Marvel slot by now, surely. How much money did they have to bring to get him back? Or does he does
it's so much.
Rob Jr. have a gambling problem or something? I'm just kidding. I don't think I don't know the man, but goddamn, I know his kids will never go hungry.
Yeah.
Jesus, they backed up the Brinks truck.
Oh, so much. They had to. I mean, that's why they announced it this weekend, because they were making all that Deadpool money. That's our thoughts on Dr. Doom.